Good afternoon. Hopefully it's not too windy and the microphone isn't picking the wind up, but I'm here today surrounded by 28 beech trees. I planted these about 6 weeks ago. I got my Facebook marketplace for my favourite price, £0. It's getting towards the end of April and they're mixed. I've got some that have already come into leaf, but the majority are still just budding and they'll be out in leaf any day. It's a completely mixed bag. It's basically an old hedge that was advertised on Facebook Marketplace that a guy just wanted rid of. He'd already dug them up. They'd been in the ground about 2 to 3 years from a new build property, and all I did is collected them, brought them here to my parents' house, got them in the ground. Of the 28 trees, well, I collected 30 actually. 2 of them are at home in pots. Only one has died, this little tiny one. And some of the other ones that are a bit bigger like this, they're doing great. So today, I thought I'd possibly do a bit of wiring to a few of them. I just planted them in normal soil. I didn't do much with the roots, but they already had a fairly flat root system. So today, possibly see about improving these trees. With most of them, as with this one, I cut off a couple of major branches, cleaned the edge up with my branch cutters, added wound sealant and left them to it. Now this is a good example of one of the trees. It's doing well, the buds are coming on it. I did a major chop here because it was much higher, probably at least double the height. And so I want to turn this side branch into the main leader. It's coming off at almost 90 degrees at the moment. So all I'm going to do is just wrap round this piece of wire. I had to go a few times round the trunk to get an anchor on it because there's no other branches really to work to. The wire only needs to be at the base of this branch because the rest of the branch isn't going to have any movement added. All I want to do now is just get that branch up there, so that will now, over the next year or two, turn into the new leader and start developing some taper. So I've already added my wire to this. Very much the same as the last tree. It's the same principle. Big chop, side branch, and this needs bending upwards. This is a thick wire. I think this is 5 or 6 millimeter thick. I think it's 6 millimeter, and it really needs to be 6 millimeter. Even though the wire is almost the same thickness as the branch, it's a very hard wood and it's moving. It's really demanding everything of this wire, you know, and trying this with like 3 or 3.5, 4 millimeter wire, it just won't work. You'll be able to get the movement up here, but I want the movement and the support right at the base so that it comes up a lot straighter. So yeah, another nice one. Now these trees don't all need wiring. This one, for example, I like this curve. I think it looks good. It's got a very strong branch up at the top. You know, it's got lots happening, and I'm happy to just let that develop as is. So nothing needs doing on that one. Here's another tree with some excellent taper. It goes up really nicely. There's nothing really happening around this front though. There's lots happening at the back for depth. I don't want to pull this round, so I'm wondering, can I bring this branch forward to fill this space. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is the thinner branch at the top that I've decided to move forward. But while I was looking at it, there's also a couple of branches just one above another. And I'd rather take the thinner one than the thicker one. So this is going to be pruned off, but this is the wrong time of year. So I'm not going to prune that now. First of all, I'm going to bring this branch forward. So that's coming round, and then I'll just take it down a bit and then back up at the end. That's fine. And as for this branch, I'm quite happy with this one. I'll just add a little bit of movement again. So this one will go away and then again back forwards. So that's nice, because remember, this branch will be being removed and there's another small branch growing here. So I want this one coming forward and then this one can go back. That's the plan anyway. I think this is a really lovely, elegant tree. It comes up nicely. And I like this side branch, but it's very close. So this is a good time to just bring that away from the main trunk. So rather than just cut this piece of wire off, I've just carried it on because it's a used piece of wire and I'd rather keep it as a longer piece. And this is dead simple now. I'm just going to turn that branch away at the base and then back up and down. So I've sort of added a bit of movement there. So there's quite a strong theme developing now. You can see what it is. It's the top of the tree, just needs bending up. So there we go. This is getting too boring to even bother videoing. I'm looking for something more interesting to do. So I've abandoned my beech trees for the time being. There's not a lot to do on a lot of them. They just need leaving to grow. I've wired a few up, you've seen that. And I thought I'd come and have a look at my hawthorn. Some nice buds developing. But these shoots that it put out at the end of last year, I think they need a few wires putting on them just to add a bit of movement. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use yet. And I want them all to stay on because they're all powering growth and into the tree and I want it to survive. So I'm definitely not cutting any branches off. But if I do decide to use whichever ones in the future, I want them to have some movement and it's easier to wire them now. So in an ideal world, I'd wire them when they're like this. Red, soft, and it takes wire dead easily. They're very flexible. But it's not an ideal world and I need to wire the other ones. As you've just seen, I've did a quick time lapse of wiring these branches up, and now what to do with them? That's the tricky bit. I'm really just basically thinking of getting some movement into the lower parts of these branches. I love Tony Tickle's videos on hawthorn. If you've never seen any of Tony Tickle's videos, check them out. I'm sure you have, they're brilliant. He really knows what he's doing. You know, and he sort of emphasises you've got to get the movement in the lower part of the branch because the stuff up at the top, that's not going to be used, and it just makes so much sense. So this one's coming away. I'm going to do, this one's higher up than this, so I'm going to bring this up at first. Maybe like that. Yeah. doesn't really matter what you do too much. It's just the fact that you're putting a bit of something into them. So I keep telling myself to talk, but sometimes when I'm concentrating, I do find it quite difficult. And this one's coming down, definitely. Across, because I've got a nice branch here, so I'll come away from that branch and then round. And that's it. I've left this one. I've only wired the harder branches. I've tried to put them at sort of different levels. And I did wire this back branch. So when I first looked before, I saw these were soft. I didn't realise there was an older, harder branch in the centre from last year. And I just thought, I may as well just add a bit of movement to that, just to get it away from the trunk a bit. Like that. Maybe move this up there. And it's not a lot, but it's adding just a bit more movement and a bit more interest. So thanks for joining me today. I've had a good afternoon just messing about with a few of these beech trees and wiring my hawthorn. And I wanted to just leave you with an update on this hawthorn. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video where I chopped off a branch here, which was growing strongly and healthily, because there was nothing at all growing on this trunk, on either of them. It was all being put into that. So I made the decision to cut that off. Me and my dad did it. And since then, just these last few days, there's buds started appearing all up both trunks. So, result. So we've got several buds. A couple here, one a bit further along here, and a couple more further down the trunk. So, have a great day, whatever you're doing. Get out there and check out your bonsai and go and wire a branch or get them watered or do a bit of weeding or whatever you need to do. And thanks for joining me today. I'm now going to water all these trees. And these are a couple of pear trees and an apple tree. Get those watered as well. I'm going to go and get myself a cup of coffee, I think, or realistically, I'm going to go and ask my mum to make me one. And have a great day, and thanks for joining me as always. I'll see you soon.